Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to take you through 6 call to action strategies that are going to help you double your conversions. My name is Natalie Lee and I am the founder and CEO of Ormi Media. We are a digital marketing agency that grows brands by 7 figures. We've helped businesses around the world generate over $780 million in the time that we have been in business. And we do that with demand generating campaigns and also conversion rate optimization. I have been a digital marketer for over 14 years, nearly 15 years, and we have been in business for nearly 7. So there's a lot that I've learned and I'm here to share it all with you. So if you are a growth focused entrepreneur trying to get to your first 7 figures, or maybe you've hit your first 7 figures and you want to figure out how to get to the next because you're hitting a plateau, you might want to hit the subscribe button and then the bell so that you don't miss out on any of what I am about to share, because there is a lot to come. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about calls to action. So strategy number 1 is about the language you use. You want to use action driving and descriptive language. But what does that mean? You want to avoid passive things like click here, learn more. It just doesn't pack a persuasive punch. You want to really describe what somebody is going to get by taking that action with you. What we do by creating that kind of an environment for the user is we give them clarity. When we give users clarity and take away ambiguity, we take away the friction to the conversion. So I'm going to give you some examples now. If you have an ebook, for example, you might want to say, get the complete guide to CRO for free. If you offer a trial for your product, well, that's what you want to be saying. Start your 7-day free trial. If you have a demo, you might want to say, see the platform in action. You really want to tell people what they're going to get. Can you see how outlining that benefit is going to really give people the understanding of what they're going to get with you? When you're calling somebody to take action, they want to know, what action am I taking? What does this mean? Do I have to put my credit card details in? What is this? So you really want to make it a no-brainer for people. You also want to be A/B testing your verbiage. So you don't want to get too bogged down in the perfectionism. You want to launch that out into the wild and see what really resonates with people, because sometimes what you have in mind doesn't always exactly hit the mark. So what we say at Ormi Media is deploy, optimize, and then amplify. So you want to run A/B testing and see what's actually working with your audience to make sure that you're giving everybody what they need. And then you can then identify what those frictions to conversions are and then get rid of them. Strategy 2, this is about using contrast and color and attention to your advantage. So sometimes people get this wrong and they will want to do the most outlandish colors. You want to make sure that whatever you're picking is attention grabbing but not jarring to the user. So for example, a white background website with a blue button, that gets your attention. Great. It's going to get your attention more than a beige button. But when you start doing high contrast things like a bright blue web page with an orange button, you are missing the mark. You are making it a very visually unappealing situation for your consumer. And that's not what you want. When it comes to the color psychology, you can take a look at things where blue builds trust and stability and all these other things. But I would say for most people, most brands, it's just important to pick something that works with your web page and is complementary to your branding. Don't get too caught up in what shade of blue should I pick. Just use your best judgment. If you were a large brand, then yes, perhaps you would have the data set that would allow you to make the decisions about which shade of blue is going to get you more conversions, but getting too bogged down in that is going to create a situation where you're basically wasting time. The next strategy we're going to talk about is placement, calls to action. I cannot explain to you how many times I review a website and people don't have any calls to action above the fold. It gives me anxiety because we are missing out on prime real estate. We are driving traffic with very expensive, labor-intensive processes, and we're not compelling people to convert. Think about how people use your website. You want to have your calls to action on the top left or the top right. You want to maybe implement a sticky navigation so that people constantly have a line of sight to that call to action. Use your best judgment here. It's going to be a different call to action depending on your product or service, but you need to use the real estate wisely. And remember, don't make it confusing for people. You want to have one real focus for your call to action when it comes to your pages. If you have conflicting calls to action, what are we doing again? We're introducing confusion, we're introducing uncertainty, we're introducing friction. Do you see where I'm going with this? Laser focus, strategic pages and calls to action create confidence in the consumer. And what does a confident consumer do? They buy. The next strategy is on leveraging social proof in your call to action language. Now, social proof is incredibly persuasive. You can talk about your business all day long. No one's going to believe you completely because we do live in kind of a cynical world. So you want to leverage the people who have been saying great things about your product or service. So it may not necessarily be on that button, but in and around, you want to create that confidence and then leverage that and pivot on that in a way with your button. So for example, you might have joined the thousands who have signed up for, or 5-star rated by over 1,000 people, and then include a testimonial from somebody. Now, this is why it's really important to get case studies, to get testimonials, and I know it is different for everybody and it can be incredibly difficult. But if you don't have a strategy in place for that now, I suggest that you get one, and perhaps we will create some content on that in the future to be helpful to you in that way. But for now, you're going to have to be strategic. Social proof is incredibly persuading, so you want to leverage it to the best of your ability. When you have other people vouching for you, your new user on site goes, wow, there's 5,000 people that really like this product. I think I'm sold. Right? You could sit there and talk about all of the benefits that someone's going to get from your product or service, but nobody else has used it. How do we know? How do we know, right? So get rid of that friction and you will see your conversion rate soar. Next, we're going to talk about scarcity and urgency. You want to add those elements of exclusivity and limited availability if it makes sense to your brand, because you want to create FOMO. Think about Kylie Cosmetics. She absolutely nailed that strategy, right? So some things that you might be able to leverage are a countdown timer, limited products and availability. You may have time or date restrictions, and be really specific about those. Don't just say limited time, but be really specific if you can be. Only 5 spots available is going to work a little bit better than limited quantities available. But again, it really is dependent on your offer. So when you come to time constraints, you know, sale ends Sunday, those kinds of things, like get 80% off today only, you know, shop the sale today. Those kinds of things are going to compel users to take action. So it's really important. If you're in a service like coaching, often we can also see price increase being a compelling factor, like sign up today because in January it's going to be $20,000 and today it's 15, so you might want to sign up. Again, creating that FOMO, I need to take action now, because you want people to do that. You don't want them leaving and doing business with your competitor. Really, the key when it comes to urgency is having the consumer understand that this offer is temporary, and if they want it, they need to take it up now. But there are some warnings with this. You want to make sure that this is a genuine offer. You don't want to be creating fake urgency and lying to your potential consumers, because that is going to create a brand distrust. Okay, that has a knock-on effect to your business, and you absolutely want to avoid that. So you want to balance the scarcity with ample time for people to take action. So if you usually have a really long lead time on sales, and if you say, you know, 20% off just for today, and they're like, well, this is a $20,000 deal, I don't know if I'm quite sold yet. You have to really think about how it applies to your product or service. So I would urge you to do that. You want to find the right balance of scarcity and urgency for your consumer, where they are compelled to take action and they're not turned off of doing business with you. Okay, so leverage the FOMO, but do it in an ethical way. So the final and most critical strategy is something I've kind of touched on in and throughout this video, and that is testing. A/B testing your call to actions. Optimizing your campaign through experimentation is so important. The great thing about A/B testing is it takes the opinion and guesswork out of it, right? We want to be data driven. We want to be strategic when it comes to conversion optimization. It's great to have an opinion and a hypothesis, but they have to be tested, okay? So that comes from running tests. I would urge you to run call to action experiments across your websites, your emails, and your ads. And make sure that you are tailoring those call to actions to the temperature of the traffic that you're driving, because they're all going to be different. I don't want you creating calls to action that you're using on your homepage and then thinking that that's going to work on a really hyper specific landing page. Everything needs to be tailored and everything needs to be tested. Remember, nothing in conversion optimization is set and forget. What works today for your audience may not work in a year's time. So you need to continually be testing. Staying on top of marketing in your business is the surest way to grow the 7 figures that you want and beyond. Well, guys, those are my 6 call to action strategies that are going to help you double your conversion rates. I hope you had fun learning something new, and I hope you're able to take some of these tips to your business and it helps you make more revenue. If you did try some of these strategies, let me know how you went below, or connect with me on LinkedIn. That's all from me today, and I'll see you in the next one.